Okay, trying something new. So I'm gonna pull some theme cards here. Do shorter readings. See what does this angels, ancestors, guides, galactic family, cosmic family, elemental family. What do we need to speak on today? Storm fields in reverse. That's good news. Storm fields in reverse. Heal the ouch. Time to heal. Intention. And wishing well. All right, so looks like these storm clouds are coming to an end in order for healing to happen. And we're being asked to have intention around what we're wanting to manifest. Okay, so let's try these cards. I haven't worked with these for a while. So tell us more about these storm fields ending. Oneness is the way. How can you show more compassion and acceptance towards those you don't understand? So it seems that storm fields are ending around this idea that maybe somebody hasn't been feeling like they're accepted or understood. Give me more on this. You can radically change your results by shifting your beliefs. What belief is limiting you? So because of this feeling of not being accepted and understood, it's caused this storm fields, feeling of going through some tumultuous energy. And right now, since we're being asked to heal, the question is, while you're healing, what belief might be limiting you and maybe potentially preventing you from shifting your beliefs? I wasn't going to pull that many, but it just fell out. So, whoa, that's kind of a lot. So I'm going to focus on the storm fields ending and healing right now. So if oneness is the way and you haven't felt this energy of oneness, we're being asked to, as we heal, shift the beliefs that we've been holding on to that may have been limiting us. So if we have been feeling misunderstood and not accepted, and that's been impacting the belief that we hold within ourselves, how can we shift this energy to where we're taking back our power? And then, after asking that question, we get the gratitude is the life force of peace. What are you thankful for? So, in answer to this, what are the beliefs that I may need to be focusing more on? Gratitude is definitely part of that. And then we have, you are the truth seeker, awakening, actualizing, transcending. How can you invite more grace to guide you? So, maybe, and I feel like this is kind of falling underneath this feeling, this lack of compassion and acceptance from others around us. And maybe what needs to happen is we need to seek the truth within us rather than trying to be understood by those surrounding us. So we're being asked to, seek for the truth within ourselves. And, as we do that, how can we tap more into that grace within us to guide ourselves rather than, you know, looking outside of ourselves to get that validation or that acceptance. All right, and then we have trust your faith. Dive into the unfolding journey. What is your faith asking of you? So as we're shifting our beliefs and accepting the fact that we may not be getting that compassion and acceptance externally, but we're working on finding it within us and doing that through this gratitude and, you know, being more present, we're also being asked to have faith in who we are, like who we want to be. What is this, you know, as we heal and really as we have this intention to manifest what we're wanting, what our wishes are, as we're anchoring that in, how can we do that while having faith in the process? Because sometimes that process isn't always easy, and it can bring challenges and frustrations, and it can, you know, bring up our shadows to look at. So just holding on to that hope and that faith as we heal, that can actually happen. And then the last card is take responsibility for your life as a creative adventure. How can you live with more meaning, integrity, and truth? So as we're seeking, and that was actually going to go under this truth seeker card, so that fits in perfectly with the spread. It's like, as we're tapping into this, being honest with ourselves, you know, and giving ourselves grace in the process, because as we're looking at ourselves and focusing less on getting validation from the external world, what happens is, you know, we also have to look at our shadows and the things that where we've kept ourselves in this Stormfield's energy. But since that Stormfield's energy is ending now, you know, now we're moving through it. So, you know, it's the winding road and we're almost to the end. So it's like, what have we learned along the way? And this is the path that, you know, really is all about the healing. It's like, as we learn about ourselves and reflect, we heal ourselves and we heal different parts of ourselves. And sometimes that healing process isn't so fun, and it's not pretty, and it can be quite messy. But as we do that, we're being asked to really take responsibility in this creative new adventure that we have, into figuring out our truth. And, you know, we're being asked to stay in our integrity. You know, who are you at the core? Are you staying on course with who you really are, or are you still looking externally of yourself to be accepted by those around you? And as we continually do these assessments, you know, as we're walking down this path, this checkered path, shadow, light, that's what I kind of imagine with the checkered black and white. It's like, you know, looking at our shadows, looking at our light, you know, blending them all together as we move along the path into this new creative adventure that we are manifesting with intention. So as we do that, let's get some cards now on that. So now that we know what that healing process is asking of us as we are moving through these storm fields that many of us have been on, let's get some on this intention energy. So what do we need as we're building this intention for, you know, what we want to manifest, what do we need to focus on? What do we know? What do we need to know? I just looked at the clock and it's 10:10. That might mean something to somebody. So, oh, wow, 0 point. That's cool. And got the master number 22 there. So we're at like the starting point of our mastery. So I think this is what this is saying. It's like, it's almost like trusting. And this goes right along with this, what this is saying too. It's like, as we move from this, you know, depending on the external to kind of tell us which way to go, as we move into our self more and we build that trust, this is just validating that you are your creator, you are the master. And, you know, the 22 is like the master number 22, and then 0 point. So it's like this new beginning. It's, don't question yourself. You know, trust in the fact that you've moved through the storm, you've moved through the storm field, and, you know, you're healing. Yes. So things aren't going to be perfect. They're not going to be exactly the way that you envision them. But as you move into this new path with intention towards what you want and what you want to manifest and bring in, you have this opportunity to like create this new beginning with precision, because you know yourself. And even if you don't know yourself completely, obviously none of us do, because we're on a freaking journey here, but trust that you are in the place that you need to be in order to make that first step. Oh, I just looked at the clock again. It was 12:34. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dang, lots of like number synchronicities here. Okay, and that's all about steps towards what you want to manifest. Oh, wow, prosperity begins. Awesome. So what this is saying, it's like as you go into this new manifestation energy, as you're manifesting what you want, it's saying this is by sticking with this intention, by having a vision, by having a focus, you are able to bring in these new beginnings and, you know, get that prosperity. Recognition and reward will come, and new partnerships and alliances. So it's almost like that paradox of, as you don't focus on the external and you focus more with intention on being true to yourself and trusting yourself in the process. And as you heal this, by focusing on this actually brings in what, you know, many of us have looked for outside of ourselves to begin with. So it's like as you don't focus on the external, then the things that maybe we had focused on in the past, then those start to come in, almost because we're not actually focusing on that. Instead, we're focusing on what we truly want rather than what, you know, is accepted by individuals around us. Okay, so then what do we need to know about this wishing well energy? What we're manifesting? Firm foundation. Okay, so this is lots of 4s. So the 2 and 2, 4, 4, 8, 4. So firm foundation is connected to that root chakra energy. So it's like we need to ground that in. It's not just in our head, you know, as you manifest, it's like You don't just wait for things to occur because, well, I've been manifesting it in my head. I've been thinking about it. Well, it's not just about the thinking. It's about how are we showing the universe that this is something that we want? What steps are we taking towards that direction? And, are we grounding that energy in, and how are we grounding that energy in? Give us more on this firm foundation. Love begins. So do it with love, and it's cool. You have the 0 and then the 1. It's like the new beginnings are occurring, but just be sure to stay within this love energy, and it's like you need to have the ego, because the ego is what kind of fuels your drive, to get things done. But it's like balancing it out with love, kind of getting out of that like ego mentality of I'm just doing this for the money, or I'm just doing this for the recognition and the reward. It's like reminding us, okay, these new beginnings can begin. Have the intention towards what you want, but just remember to balance it out with this love energy. Okay, and what else? What else around this manifesting in what we want? Sacral chakra. Cool. 2. 0, 1, 2. So it's like the steps are given. And I just looked at the clock a little bit ago and it was 12:34. So and there's the 4. That's cool. All right. New beginnings, stepping stones, 0, 1, 2, missing 3. Okay. I don't know what I was thinking there. Okay, so it's like you have the new beginnings. Be sure to do it with love, come at this with your whole self rather than just the ego self. And then, while you're creating this firm foundation, while you're like anchoring that in, be sure to move. It's like moving up the chakras, right? Because you got your root chakra here, where it's like the anchor. It's all about survival, and feeling rooted in whatever projects and things that you're creating. And it moves up into the sacral chakra, which is the second chakra, it's like the sexual energy, the creative energy. And so you're anchoring it in with love, and you're bringing in that creative energy, that, life force energy that many times, that's why we get reminded of like being careful with our sexual energy, because it can leak out, it's like, are we using that for, what it's meant for? Well, sexual energy it's just the same as creative energy. So being responsible with how we're using that energy, and knowing that when we do use it, it can be depleted. And so being intentional with how we're grounding in what we want, what we want to manifest, and putting our focus into this creative type of energy with responsibility. All right, we're at 20 minutes. Okay, so let's get some cards to end this read. What do we need to know as we navigate this new cycle of going within, trusting ourselves, spirit of place, and ghost lands? Okay, so 4, 8. Just like this is 48. Okay, so as we manifest, we are being asked to connect with I'm in this read, this reminds me of just connecting with nature, you know, and which would make sense for this root chakra energy and the sacral chakra energy. You know, it's like as we are trying to anchor that in, we do need to, it helps when we can, you know, put our feet on the ground, go sit under a tree, you know, enjoy the presence of nature. Maybe even go on a hike if we're if we're able to do that. And then Ghostlands with Spirit of Place, it does remind me of kind of manifesting, as we manifest, asking our spirit team to work alongside these nature spirits, you know, as we walk through the forest, as we go on a walk around our place and we look at the trees and we appreciate the nature around us, you know, really tap into that kind of like animal spirits, animal spirit guides, and ask for that assistance. Let me get 2 more. What are the remaining things we need to know before we end this? Okay, so these just landed on top of this trust energy as we've, you know, moved through the storm clouds and we've learned to really go within and trust ourselves. We want to trust that we have gone through it. We've gone through the mountain. We have hiked the mountain. We have done the work. And now we're being asked to be the wizard of awareness. So, you know, as we're learning to trust ourselves, be empowered in what you've become along the way. Because, you know, like hiking a mountain isn't easy. And many times we don't really give ourselves the credit that we deserve once we've gone through some tough times. And with those times ending, we really, you know, and this new cycle beginning, we want to give ourselves credit and, you know, really tap into that wizard of awareness that we've created within ourselves, the wise one. Like, and as we've learned, as we've gone through the path of this shadow and light energy within us, and as we're still going through it and reflecting, using that and being the alchemist and transmuting it to where it can work with us rather than against us. And then we have home. So, you know, as we become the wizard and we know how we've moved through this mountain of struggle and trials and learning more about ourselves, really learning to be at home within ourselves, because that can be hard. Like many times we want to be around other people a lot to kind of get that validation. And that's kind of what we were talking about before with these other cards. It's like, you know, now we're learning to trust ourselves. And so as we learn to trust ourselves, we need to learn how to be at home within ourselves. And as we learn to be at home within ourselves, we become the magical map shifter. So that's a lot of magical wizardy energy right there, which is really cool. So that's it for today. Thank you.